To get started on this exercise, you should have downloaded the lower thirds folder, and inside of this folder there's an After Effects file that already has everything set up to get started. There's also a footage folder that has both the movie and the logo that we'll be using. So to start up, we're going to open up the Flowers Start logo. Now once it's open, if the lower thirds composition is not already automatically open, you can double click on it from here to open up this composition. The first thing to note is you've got a set of grids that are automatically turned on for this composition. To find these grids and to turn them on or off, locate at the very bottom of your composition panel. This icon allows you to turn on what's known as the title or action safe area. With this option turned on, you can see we've got a variety of grids that shows you where you can place things on your screen so that it looks good both in a 16:9 and a 3:4 title safe area. If you're ever creating something for different kinds of screens, it's good to know that this will not get cropped off as you place it and use these guides. If you ever need to turn off these guides, you can simply select it, choose it again, and it'll go away. For now, we're going to keep them on. The first thing we want to do is to animate this pink bar. Let's go down to our timeline and turn off visibility for the logo and the logo type layers, keeping on visibility for the pink bar and the little flowers that are set for it. With the pink bar layers selected, notice that our center point by default is usually in the center of whatever object that we've got selected. We want to be able to transform this from this left-hand side. To be able to move this position point, we're going to use the Pan Behind tool. Pan Behind tool is located in the center of your toolbox. When we click on this will give us the ability to move it wherever we want. And if you hold down the Command key, it'll automatically snap to this left edge. To animate this, let's choose our selection tool, so our little arrow tool. We've already got our bar selected, so we want to scale it down. Press the S key to open the scale options for this particular layer. Let's move our current time indicator to the 10th frame and make sure the scaling options for this is not linked. We want to be able to scale it down just from this right hand side. So we're going to set the scale property value down to 0, and that will completely shrink it in. From here we can press the stopwatch. Let's move our current time indicator to 1 second, which is right here, and then we can scale it back up to 100%. This will give us both of our keyframes. Back it up, we can test it, and you can see it scales out from there, looking good. We'll go ahead and select both of these keyframes carefully. Hit F9 to add some easy ease to both of those as well. With this done, let's make a copy of this bar and make a little white bar that also follows along with it. I'm going to close out my pink bar. With this layer selected, go up to Edit, and we want to duplicate or Command D that layer. This will give us pink bar 2. We can hit the return key, and let's call this the white bar. Since this is a shape, we can either go up to the top fill color or to your properties panel and scroll down to see the fill color. Clicking on it, we can change the color of it to be white. We'll close this out again. And let's make sure this white bar is below our pink bar. It's going to temporarily cover it up. As a matter of fact, let's open this up. Let's go to our transform properties. We still want to keep it scaling, but let's change its position from 604 to 610. This is going to move it down just slightly so we can see it. I'll press the U key to close everything up again. Whoops, there we go. Now we want this same animation to happen 10 frames off of the pink bar, or 10 frames behind it. I'm going to move my current time indicator to frame number 10, and with this layer selected, click and drag it until it starts right there. Now when we back up and play, it'll have a little line following close behind it as well. This looks good. Now let's animate the little logo on the left-hand side. We'll turn on visibility for the Floral Finders logo illustrator area. Let's move our current time indicator to start at 1 second. And with this layer selected, press the S, then Shift R to open both the scale and the rotate. Now, since this is already at our current time, we're going to set keyframes at the starting point. Then we're going to back it up to frame number 10. We can set our scale value for both of them to be 0 and a rotation value of just 90 degrees, so a quarter of a turn. With this done, we can also select all 4 of our keyframes, press F9 to turn them into easy ease, and when we back up to play test it, you can see how it comes up nicely. With the logo done, now let's deal with the logo type, or the text of it. We can close out this layer and turn on visibility for the logo type Floral Finders Illustrator file. With this layer selected, let's move our current time indicator to 1 second, where we want it to stop animating. We can press P to open the position, and let's turn on a keyframe for it by clicking the stopwatch. We can then move our keyframe timeline indicator back to the 10th keyframe and type in the position value of 295 and 603. This will move it ever so slightly to the left as it comes up. And as always, we can add easy ease to these keyframes as well. Now, since we want these words to be revealed as the pink bar slides out, let's go down to our timeline and make a copy of the pink bar. Select the layer. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut of Command or Control D if you're on a Windows computer to duplicate the pink bar. Hit the return key, and I'm going to call this my track mat. And I'm going to place this track mat above my logo type layer. To activate this mat, let's go to our logo type Floral Finders logo layer. We need to swap modes so that we can see our mats. So at the very bottom, click on Switch Toggle Modes, and let's change the mode from No Mat to the Track Mat. By default, it's set to the Alpha mat, so that's allowing it to do Alpha. Now when we back up and play, you can see it reveals as it's scrubbing over through here. If you haven't saved already, this is also a good time to save your file as we move forward. The last thing we need to do is to animate a social network tagline. To do this, we're going to animate the words Floral Finders out of the way. So let's do that first. With the Floral Finders logo layer selected, press the P key one more time to open up the position. Let's move our current time indicator to 3 seconds. And we need to add one more keyframe to here. To do this, click on the diamond next to the word position to add just a keyframe by itself. Once this is done, we can move our current time indicator to 4 seconds, and let's change its position. The first number should be 1285, The second number should be 603. With this done, this is going to move it very quickly off the screen after it pauses for a second and then moves off. As this is happening, let's have our logo give a little spin. So let's choose our flower logo layer, press the R key to open the rotation properties. Again, let's move our current time indicator back to 3 seconds. We're going to add a keyframe here by clicking the little diamond, and then move your current time indicator to 4 seconds. And let's set a rotation property of just 1 rotation. Now, as it moves out of the way, the little flower will spin after it pauses. There we go. Finally, let's bring up the Follow Us on Facebook text. Bring your current time indicator back to 3 seconds. Let's go over to our Follow Us on Facebook layer and turn on its visibility. With it selected, we can press the T button to open its transparency or opacity. We'll turn on a keyframe at 3 seconds, and let's set its opacity level all the way down to 0. Finally, let's move our current time indicator to 4 seconds, and let's scrub it all the way up to 100%. As with everything, we can select both of those and add easy ease to both of those. Now that we're done, let's back it all the way up and test our animation. pauses, comes up from there. Looking good. The last thing you can do is to turn off your little guidelines by clicking here and playing through without the guides themselves. Those guides will never render once you finish and export your final movie. Speaking of which, let's go up to File, down to Export, and let's add this to our render queue. With this done, we'll choose our output. Make sure your name is on this final file. Hit Save, and then we'll render this final rendering. Be sure to upload both the movie and the After Effects file to our class page.